Gridiron Grinder! Hut hut hike!
Okay, party people. It's Tuesday night. I had to say because we're within the first minute of the video and YouTube will block us for the 6 viewers that are watching. Uh, this is Gridiron Grinder, episode 210. And obviously, I'm Ryan. With me, as always, is my buddy James. Just a couple of dudes hanging out, talking about what's going on in the NFL each week. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. A little different of an intro. So, James, I guess whenever you're ready, do some name that stadium for us, man.
All right, as you can see, travel around different stadiums that host NFL games. This one's obvious because I'm so super fucking excited right now.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. We're
Um,
still within a minute, man. We're still within a minute, and you're dropping F bombs.
ah, sorry,
We're at
my bad,
56 seconds, James.
my bad.
We just got frickin' blocked. Okay, keep going. You might as well just let it rip now.
Might as well just let it rip now. So I'm super excited. You can edit that. Um, and so it's obvious where I am, but first person guesses right. Get an extra special shout out with Bookmark It. You can play it back for all your friends. Last week
Yes.
I was in Munich for the international game, not because I thought it was going to be a good game. Like when we talked about it, I thought it was which team's going to screw up the most and mess up their draft pick, which apparently I
Was
was
the
wrong.
Giants.
It was the Giant. No, the Giants lost.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Who's
So
going to
who messed
screw
up
up?
their draft pick? You're right. So yeah, Carolina. Sorry. Yeah.
Carolina. Carolina won. And somehow like
Yeah,
I
which I
struggled.
guess now I guess it's Jacksonville has the number one pick, despite all of that.
Yeah,
But
I could.
Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence didn't play. Still, who would have thought it going into week 11, Jacksonville's going to have the number one pick in the draft? Like, what the fuck is going on? And I could say that now
So
because we're 2 minutes in, James.
so Jacksonville
I saw it. They got the
gets it.
tiebreaker. They got the number
And
one pick, man.
I know, and I'm trying to remember which tiebreaker it was. Um, will this show me? No, this won't show me the tiebreaker. But so it's like they get the tiebreaker on. Is it?
I don't
Is
know.
it?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. We'll figure it out in, 7, 8 more weeks
Yeah. Uh, or we'll figure it out by the end
by
of the
the
show.
draft. Sure. Yeah, there you go. There you go. By the end of the show, we got an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it takes. So yeah, we're traveling the country. You're traveling the country at a very famous place that you like to go to, and um, in 210 episodes, we've had I don't know 3% of people take us on for name that stadium. So this could be one. You never know.
Yeah. So strength of schedule, maybe.
I don't know.
No,
I
because
don't know.
Jackson. Yeah. So strength of schedule. The Giants' strength of schedule is 0.543, where Jacksonville is 0.532, and
Okay.
so it's the sixth tiebreaker
Gotcha.
that gives it to them.
All right. Enough of that. Let's just go to name that, or not name that stadium. News of the week. News of the week, James. What do you got for us, man?
All right. So first, and I haven't confirmed this, but I think the Colts fired Steichen.
Whoa. I didn't see that.
I I thought I haven't
I
looked it
gotta
up, but
look that up because I'm not even seeing that on NFL.com. That would be like super new news if it's not even on NFL.com. No, 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 no. I'm not seeing that. They're saying the latest news is that Steichen's back
oh,
and
I'm sorry.
Flacco is the quarterback.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'd seen an article. about the next, and I didn't delve into it because I was busy, but the next Colts head coach. Um, Dennis Allen and Saleh are still the only two that have been fired. I
Okay.
was thinking there was a third one, but I got fooled.
Yeah, I know the
But
Bears fired their offensive coordinator and made some changes and whatever. I
yeah,
mean, come on. You got a rookie quarterback doing rookie quarterback shit. That's not the offensive coordinator's fault because they put up some big offensive performances when Caleb Williams has played well. But he's not going to play well every week because he's a fucking rookie.
yeah, and like, but their offense, like they just look pathetic.
And I think a lot of that's because he's a fucking rookie.
Yeah, no, I mean I'll give you that. It's just they started out looking better, and it seems like as the season's progressed, they've gotten worse. It could be strength of schedule versus
They had, I mean, they started off like 2 3 weeks where they did nothing, and then they blew up, and then they did nothing, and then they blew up again, and now they're doing nothing again. These
Mhm.
are the growing pains of a rookie quarterback, man.
Yeah.
I think it's just because they were in the fucking heat of the mix with the NFC North, and now it's slipping away. They're like somebody's fucking head's got to roll. And Eberflus knows that if he doesn't do something soon, they're not going to have patience with him because how many years are you going to let that guy sit in that job before they get something done?
Yeah. They needed a new head coach when you're drafting a new quarterback.
Yeah, they
Just get
should
the
have
new head
flipped it
coach in there.
last
They
year.
should have flipped
They
it
should have
last year.
flipped it last year.
Should have flipped it last year and give them time to grow together. Eberflus probably should have been out
Yeah,
2 years
it
ago.
sucks when you have a rookie quarterback and a head coach that's on the hot seat. It's a bad mix.
hmm Um, Other news: Dak's season is officially over.
I saw that.
He
Yeah, that
he had surgery
hamstring
to
thing.
repair his
Yep.
hamstring. Um, I missed this one, but Austin Jackson, right tackle for Miami, is out for the remainder of the season on a knee
Okay.
injury that required surgery.
Yeah, and they already had a thin offensive line this year. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate. In good news, somebody got paid.
Oh yeah, Diamador Lenore for the 49ers. Big time
Yeah,
money, man.
he got a 5-year, $92 million extension.
That seemed, I'll tell you what, man. I just saw that right before the show and I thought, fucking, are you kidding me? I mean, I like him, but I didn't think that much money. That's a lot of fucking money,
Yeah,
dude.
I thought that was a lot of money too.
Yeah. They are not known for their cornerbacks. So, like, oh, that's big money because he's not even their cornerback one.
yeah. So uh, I don't understand it, but he got paid. Good for him. I'm not gonna try to say
Yeah.
somebody doesn't deserve the money they do because
Yeah,
the NFL players.
yeah, you get what you deserve, and he found a way to get it or whatever. So it just seems very healthy and generous to me.
It does. Rumors are Daniel Jones is finally out at quarterback for the Giants.
Yeah, they should trade for Trey Lance because what the fuck, they got nothing to lose at this point.
Well, they got nothing to lose. Dallas is not going to trade Trey Lance to.
I mean,
Um,
Trey Lance might. I mean, Dallas might as well just play Trey Lance now, right? Because Dak's done. They
it,
clearly in this past game were wishy-washy on Cooper Rush anyhow, and so
I
I
wanted to
say,
get into Trey Lance a little bit because I was watching a little bit of the game here and there, and what the fuck was the point of that two snap package with Trey
yeah.
Lance?
Here, you know what? Let's shelf this. Let's just make question of the week. Let's talk about Trey Lance, and
All
I'm
right,
just gonna put it on here. Trey Lance question mark. Okay? We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. Because I think there's a lot we can talk about with that. All right, so other news. I don't know. What other news do we have?
So apparently,
I get like half of my shit on NFL.com's in Spanish, so I don't understand it.
Roquan Smith was fined for a hit on Chris Godwin 18 days ago.
Okay.
For a hip drop tackle, which led to Godwin's season-ending injury. He won his appeal.
Oh.
Because under the rule, hip drop tackle must involve three things: grabs the ball carrier with both hands or wraps around with both hands, unweighs himself by swiveling and dropping his hips or lower body, and then lands on and traps the opponent's legs at or below the knee. And apparently it doesn't say how he won his appeal.
Yeah, what part of it?
What part of it
flipped?
wasn't there? Yeah. He was not penalized. But apparently, this is the second appeal that Roquan Smith has won, because in week 1 he was fined for a horse collar tackle that he won on appeal too.
Okay.
So apparently he has good representation that can pick apart these rules and
union leadership.
Find which is not, the NFLPA is not known for good union leadership. But it's
working for him.
It's working for him. I'm looking, and it doesn't say what parts, like how he got out of it or what the ruling was, but apparently on both of them he didn't meet the criteria for it to be considered a hip drop tackle or for it to be considered a horse collar tackle.
Okay. Well, good to appeal it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to appeal it. Like, look at Brady. He was suspended for like a year, and then it was in court narrowed down to 4 games because
it's Tom Brady.
Because of the rules, he had no way of knowing some bullshit, whatever.
Yeah.
But that was like federal court or something that decided that one for Deflategate. But apparently there's somebody at the union's good at picking apart these rules,
technicalities
to say nope, that
Article 47.3b(a)(2)(1)(c). He did not meet this. Take it out. You cannot elaborate on what does that mean on the field, and so we're taking it out. Yes.
See if I can find how he won what the decision was.
With skill and precision, James. That's how he won it.
So blah blah blah. Okay, so I Google it, and the first thing I come up with is the same article I was just fucking looking at.
Okay.
Really great.
Okay. Yeah. It is really great. By the way, I like how in your picture behind you, it seems like every tunnel has like light blasting through it. Like it's such a, There's nothing to block that light from coming through.
I didn't even notice that.
It's just such a clean, crisp. Yeah, which you saw the CD Lamb touchdown that he dropped. Fucking come on, man. Come on. The light was coming through and he was like, I lost it in the sun.
Oh yeah.
And so now they're saying that they might put curtains there for when the offense is running that side of the field so it doesn't happen again. It's like, dude, Cooper Rush threw it right to him and it just went right fucking by him. Like, oh, dude, it was so bad, man. It was so bad.
Jerry Jones squashed that theory real quick.
What, the curtains?
Yeah. The shade, the sun. There it is.
We just paid him a lot of money. I guess we're just going to disrespect him now.
No, Jerry Jones said, well, let's tear the damn stadium down and build another one. Are you kidding me? Of all things that we need to improve, that is way down the list of improvements.
To put curtains up. Yeah.
It's the largest air-conditioned space in the world. Every venue has certain things that at certain ways and times can create an advantage. That really goes under the category of home field advantage. It should be an advantage to the home team. It has been an advantage for us to know where the sun is.
And yet it went against them right there. Yeah.
But I like the start of the quote. Well, let's tear the damn stadium down and build another one.
Yeah, that's a billionaire getting pissy about it. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. CD Lamb should have caught it, but still.
Yeah, it's their damn stadium. He should know where the sun's going to be. The ball, if I remember the play correctly, the ball was right in his fucking hands. Like,
it was like right on him. Like he should have gotten it, dude.
Like, if you're a receiver, you should just instinctively catch the ball.
You should just instinctively is right. Like you should just know the ball's going to be here, and I just need to grab it with my hands.
Like the
I
ball
can do it
could
with
be
my eyes closed.
literally right here, and and when he first sees it, literally inches in front of his face, and his instinct should be to catch it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, make another fucking excuse. You're
pathetic
ass team.
My homie Cooper Rush, dude, he loses a stat because of that. You know, it sucks. Cooper Rush, he had the highest fucking win percentage of any fucking quarterback in the NFL through 6 games, and now through 7, it's shattered.
Curtains is not the reason you lost by 28 fucking points.
No, it just would have narrowed the gap.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got on the news, buddy? Fuck the news. Let's go to the power rankings.
Yeah, that's about all I had for the news. I mean, it's literally day after the last game of the week, so there's not going to be much there.
All right, give me your 1 through 5.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4 stayed the same. Detroit, Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore. I could actually consider swapping Kansas City and Buffalo after this past game.
Okay.
Man, motherfucking. And then at 5, I have the Eagles up 1 spot. So Kansas City just gets lucky. No, I'm not going to say it's luck. Because if you hear Andy Reid after the game that in film study, they identified a weakness in their field goal protection, and they were able to exploit it. And my question is was the weakness the entire left side of the fucking line? Because everybody on that line just went backwards.
Yeah, I mean, still amazing to win the game that way.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, yes, I was right. You know, fuck. Finally, I got one of these games fucking right, where like I'm going out on a limb and just a feeling, and then nope,
not today.
Blocked kick, and then
No, I thought the same thing. I was like, damn, James is onto it again because you, what was it, a couple weeks ago, you almost had one and then, or you did have one or what, I don't even remember. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it was like the Carolina last week. The Carolina Saints game. I was like, just
It's gonna
something
happen.
tells me, something tells me. And then there's been a couple of them where I was like, and it was just, I was right there, and then it's like right there, and it's. But I did talk. We'll get to it in the game picks because a lot of what I talked about as being possibilities came close,
Okay.
and it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was last week, I guess, because we're talking about this past week. But anyways, on to you at number one.
Sure. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
still a
So
fucking hater, but
I'm still a hater. No, well, no, I told you that until they lose, they're gonna stay at number one, which is Kansas City. And then I've got two, three, four stayed the same. Lions, Bills, Ravens. Five, I moved up Philly, which, I like that you and I have some, similarity there at five. I brought them up. They romped Dallas, but they also got a benefit of the board because Washington lost, who was at five.
mhm.
And, when I start to look at the NFC, man, as much as I like Washington, I kind of think the NFC is Detroit, Philly, and then Washington. Maybe Green Bay and Washington. The thing is, it's just I think three and four are very close. Philly is like we know that they're stacked roster wise. It's just can they coaching wise and like gel wise as a team keep it
Mhm.
together? Because they did it 2 years ago and they were like unstoppable. And then they last year just like busted at the seams. This year it looks like it, in recent weeks it looks like to me they're getting their shit together. And if that's the case, I think Philly's a team to be reckoned with. And so that's why I was able to squeeze them into my top five. Back to you at six, man.
All right. Six, only one team stayed the same here, which was Green Bay at 9 because they were on a bye.
Sure.
I have the Steelers, I'm sorry, 49ers at 6. They moved up 2 spots. Then the Steelers, I moved them up 4 spots. And this kind of was like I had Pittsburgh and Washington so close that I had to figure out a way without because I had Green Bay on a bye without moving
Yeah.
Green
Yeah.
Bay to get the Steelers ahead of Washington. This might be a little bit high for the Steelers, but looking at yours, it's
No,
may
I
not
felt I
be.
felt the same thing. I was close to keeping Washington ahead of them, and then I was like, you know what? It's close enough that I'm just going to do it. So
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, man.
And then I have Washington at 8, who dropped 3 spots. I said Packers at 9, they stayed the same. And then I dropped Minnesota 3 spots off of a win.
Yeah, because they should have fucking lost.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if Trevor Lawrence played that game, maybe they would have lost.
Yeah. And I thought, I saw some highlights of it. I didn't watch the game, but I thought the highlights I saw, it was basically all fucking Jacksonville, and Minnesota just was lucky to hang up to
Yeah.
win.
Yeah, and it came down to it. Jacksonville just wanted to lose more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 6 through 10 on my side, I've got Green Bay stayed where they're at because of the bye. And then similar to you, I moved Pittsburgh up to seven, 3 spots. I dropped Washington down to eight, 3 spots. Minnesota, I dropped them one despite the win. And then Cincinnati, I dropped them one. And, you know, Cincinnati's tough, man, because they're fucking lighting it up on offense.
Hmm.
They're just sucking it up so bad on defense. And so I was like teeter tottering, James, on do I just drop them like five because I've been hanging on to them for so long and they're just not getting it done? Or do I just say, fuck, man? Jamar Chase got me 55 points in fantasy football, so I'm just gonna fucking keep him here another week. I don't know. It sucks. It sucks. But no, they just it's like, man, they're hanging in there offensively. They're just it's like a letdown every week defensively. And I know that game came down to a 2-point conversion at the end. A lot of people are bitching about the refs missing a call.
Three fucking
it's
penalties on that 2-point conversion. There were
it's more than
three
that though.
distinct
The
penalties.
game, like if you ever hear Mike Tomlin talk about shit, it's the game is always decided by more than one fucking play. So it's it is what it is. But back to you at 11, man.
All right, at 11, I have the Falcons. I only moved them down one spot despite the loss to New Orleans. The problem I had here is because they beat Tampa Bay twice. I could
you want to keep them above Tampa Bay.
I couldn't drop them below Tampa Bay, who I had at 12, who stayed the same. I wanted to move Tampa Bay up, but there was nowhere to go with them because Atlanta, and it's just like, so Tampa Bay stayed at 12, Chargers stayed at 13 off the win. I'm not impressed by the win. I considered moving them, but I left them there. I can't pinpoint the Chargers yet, and I'm still trying to pinpoint where they should be, if they're a top tier team or if they're more of the lower tier team. Like they confuse me.
I think we both have them in a range where it's like you got to respect them. They're not like in the elite category, but they're definitely fucking dark horse potential.
Yeah. Then I have Houston at 14. I left them at 14, even though they lost, simply because of the fact that they lost to my top team.
Yeah.
And they really Detroit took the game from them versus them making real mistakes to give the game away. It was Detroit just dominated them in the second half. And
I mean, Stroud did have 2 bad picks, right? But it's
but off the picks,
it's just that.
So okay,
it's just
first.
I mean, and you could say, oh well, Goff had 5, right? But it's like, I think that Houston knew they had to play near perfect football to win that game, and they were, except those 2 picks were like, they were momentum swings, man.
Okay, so the first pick, I don't know how much of post game you heard, but Davis coming out of the locker room said, the first out they run, I'm jumping that route.
Yeah.
And that was the first pick.
And what did we do? 2 plays later, threw our own pick. But you could just feel the energy deflate out of that Houston stadium. And so it changed things, I think. And then the later pick that he threw, that was the one that was like, okay, when he did his post game, he was like, this loss is on me. Because there was no reason for him to throw that second pick. When you're winning, you could play it safe, man.
So no, the second pick he threw, he played
was in the end zone.
But he played it too safe. If he would have thrown the ball a second earlier, it wouldn't have been picked.
Just don't throw that ball, James.
Well, it's hard not to throw the ball as wide open as who the fuck was it?
I'm just saying.
Tank Dell was in the fucking end zone. Like it's hard not to throw the ball as wide open as Dell was. He just held onto it just for a second longer. But the interceptions aren't what came back and haunted them, because you said 2 plays later. The first pick, it was 3 plays later.
Oh, wow. I was so far off.
I'm sorry. It was 3 plays later because you had it was on second down though, so that's what confused, because Montgomery had a 12-yard run, and then there was -1 and then the pick.
All right.
But also on the second interception, the same thing happened. 2 plays later, Goff threw another fucking interception.
All right. So then at 15,
And then at 15, I have Miami, and I moved them
yes,
up 15 spots. And
I like that.
I told you last week when I had them still down at the bottom because they lost to Buffalo. I needed a win from them
Yeah.
to move them, but they were definitely moving up from what I had seen with Tua on the on the field as
Yeah.
opposed
We
to
talked about it. We just
Everest.
needed them to win, and we were both going to blast them up the chart.
Yeah.
All right. On my side, I've got the 49ers at 11. They didn't move. There was just nowhere to go. 12, Tampa Bay. I moved them up three. I hear everything you're saying about Atlanta, and I know Atlanta has their number this year, but I still just believe Tampa Bay is the better team. Despite the injuries, they're playing their asses off, and I'm going to get to Atlanta in a second. 13, I've got the Chargers. I bumped them up three. I get it. It was Tennessee. They're on a heater. You know, Herbert is getting to air it out. We talked about it a week or so ago. That's continuing. I have high hopes for this team now going forward, and I had high hopes for them. You know, in the preseason, it just they needed to show it, and they've been super conservative. Now they're getting a little bit more like blossoming. 14 Houston, I dropped them one. I almost dropped them more than this because the way they lost at home, even though they had five fucking picks on Goff, James, that's the kind of loss that I feel like it's going to haunt this fucking team. You know,
Hmm.
and I think the thing that could maybe save them is Nico Collins comes back next week, and like Nico Collins and Tank Dell get that receiving room back in line, and maybe that gets them back in gear. Otherwise, I think this fucking loss could really fucking drain their morale, man. But we'll see. And then at 15,
Speaking,
I've
I
yeah,
wanted to go back to that game
yeah,
and the Lions and Zadarius Smith.
sure,
Um, so it was because Cleveland, it would have been the bye week for Cleveland this
yeah,
week, so he hadn't had his bye week.
yeah.
So the Lions gave him the week off, even though he's like, I'm ready to play. Like, and you got to respect that, to have confidence in what you have, and looking the long term for the season, not just the short term on the season there, and also giving him a chance because apparently he has a house in the Tampa area, and since the hurricane hit Tampa, he hadn't been able to go check out his property because he was in the middle of the season, giving him that chance to a couple days to go scope out his property, see what's going on there, and the week off for the long run for the long run of the season, and not beating him down, making him play 18 weeks of football plus the playoffs.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, right? I had heard a few things about it. I did hear that he had a lingering shoulder injury also,
Hmm.
and that they wanted to give him more time to learn the defensive plays. And so all of that makes sense, man. All of that makes sense. And that's fine. You know, I mean, they they just got the guy brand spanking new. You know, like
Right, but they just got him. But the thing I liked was, even though he wasn't playing in the game, he was on the
yeah,
sideline
he was
coaching
there.
up the
He was
defensive
talking
line
to
and
people. Yeah,
talking to people
he
and
was fired up.
coaching them
And
up.
even midweek, he was like, I see why, Detroit, like why they're so good, man. He's like, the practices are intense. All right, so yeah, and then at 15, James, I've got Atlanta. I dropped him three. Okay, and my thing is that we've known all year that Atlanta's defense is suspect. Um, Cousins, a couple weeks ago had the 500-yard game. Last week he had like some great connection with Cal Pitts, this, that. It's, offensively, they're making it happen, but when I watch it, it just seems like something is off to me, dude. And so I had to take a pause on Atlanta because, it's like I look at the way Baker fucking kept that play alive at the end against the 49ers, fighting off fucking Nick Bosa and just that resiliency. And I thought, okay, even though they beat them twice, I still think Tampa Bay is the better team. It's just that it's hard to put my finger on it. And so that's what I did. It's my board. I got to do what I got to do. Back to you at 16, man.
Well, see, this right here, 16-17 is a case where the Rams just beat the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And the Rams just lost to the Dolphins. The Seahawks were on a bye. And I had the Rams at 15, and I didn't feel comfortable moving the Seahawks off the bye because I don't like to move teams off on a bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I left the Seahawks at 16 and put the Rams at 17. Really, any other week, I probably would have put the Rams at 16, Seahawks at 17. Then I have no changes: Cincinnati, Arizona, Indy. Indy lost to Buffalo by 10 points. Indy's a dumpster fire, but right here there was really not much further I could take them down.
And they do show some flashes, right? Like they were in that game. They just had some, like Flacco had some bad picks at bad times.
Yeah.
And they fought their way back, and then they got down again. And then, I know they had like a garbage time touchdown. And it's weird, man, because like when you watch that game, it's like they were in it until the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm. And like Cincinnati lost to Baltimore, kept it close. There were three penalties on the 2-point conversion. There was a roughing the passer, there was a defensive holding, and there was a pass interference. All three of them at different points on that play, and the refs fucking shoved the flags up their ass and said, we're not going to call it. And all three of them were blatant and clear penalties that should have been called. Would it have made a difference in the game? I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. But yeah,
you don't know if they would have on the second 2-point
attempt
gotten it, or if they would have missed.
But they didn't get the second attempt, and that's the part that sucks.
Yeah. Exactly. Arizona, they dominated the game, but they dominated the Jets. There's nowhere to move for them. So that's back to you at 16.
Yeah, so 16, I've got the Cardinals. I moved them up one. I mean, you just talked about it. The Jets suck. Kyler is looking amazing right now. And their running game looked really good too. And so I like what I'm seeing out of Arizona, but they still earlier in the year have just been so streaky that I can't like count on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so 16 feels like it almost feels like they're ceiling for me right now, unless they can like just keep doing this every week. But 17, I had Miami. Like you moving up 15, I moved them up 11. It's aggressive, yes, but with Tua coming back, we talked about it last week that they were competitive again. We just needed to see them get a win, and we were going to blast them back up to where they hypothetically could be. And I do believe they're better than all these teams from here on out. 18, I've got the Rams. It's the same kind of thing. Even though they lost, I still think they're better than everybody from here on out. 19, Seahawks. They were on a bye. I am starting to think that they're too low when I see the teams around them here. But it's I think part of that is because like Arizona creeped up there, and now I got Miami up there, and I'm like, okay, maybe the Seahawks, give them a few weeks to like play some more teams, and let's see where this chunk plays out. And then at 20, I've got the Saints. I moved them up 5. We knew they were going to be better when Derek Carr came back, right? And then they had the coaching change, and Alvin Kamara looked good again, and it just this was like a good adjustment for them. I'm not sure how sustainable it is, but they do have a lot of fucking talent on that team compared to the teams like remaining on the board that have, in my opinion, gaps in talent at like certain positions, like obviously weaknesses that I don't think the Saints have. The Saints just haven't played up to their potential. So back to you at 21 then.
All right, 21, 22, Browns, Raiders, they had a bye. They didn't move. 23, Carolina up 4 spots. This is kind of a function of the board around here because everybody but the teams I had in my dumpster fire and Carolina lost. So it just worked out to Carolina's advantage. They got the favor of the board. 24, I have Denver. Reason I didn't move Denver, I moved Denver up only 1 spot as opposed to moving them up to 23 and Carolina at 24 is I see a little bit more hope with Carolina than Denver.
Okay.
And it's also part of a function, partly functioning because of the fact that I didn't see the game this weekend, and I watched a good part of the Kansas City game, but like I see a lot of growing pains with Denver and a lot of little mistakes. Like I told you, like Andy Reid said, well, we saw a hole in their field goal protection and they were able to exploit it. Or Bo Nix just being a rookie. Yeah, you could make the argument Carolina, who do they have? But it just seems to me, I don't know. I struggled with this, and that's where they fell.
It's your board, man. It's your board.
And also 25 with the Saints, everybody from 25 down lost besides the Saints and the Patriots. So I moved the Saints up 6 spots. Also partly moved up one of the spots because of I moved 2 of the spots because I killed a couple teams this week.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with killing some teams. 21, I got the Bears. I dropped them 1. Williams, we talked about it, kind of reverting to the rookie ways. The defense is still dominant. And so I have a hard time dropping them too far because I still think that even with a subpar offense, that defense is going to keep them in games. They just got punched in the mouth this past week. 22, Denver. I kept them where they were at. They lost to my number 1 team. Fluke kind of way too. I'm not going to drop them. I actually would have bumped them. Honestly, I almost bumped them on the loss. But 23.
I did.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. 23, Cleveland. They were on a bye. They didn't move. 24, Dallas. I dropped them 10. You might as well stick a fork in them. They're fucked. Dak is out for the year now. Their defense was already playing like shit. They didn't have a running game.
They don't have any curtains at their stadium.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like I was saying earlier, just let Trey Lance fucking play every snap from here and see if he can develop because you know what you got in Cooper Rush. He's a plain vanilla backup quarterback. And I don't want to knock him, but he's not getting them to the playoffs. Not without fucking Dan Quinn running that defense anyhow. And Dan Quinn's long gone. So 25, I've got Indy. I moved them down 1. Flacco did drag them down in that last game, which sucks. But you do still see the potential in that team that I think is more consistent with him at quarterback than Anthony Richardson. And maybe at some point Richardson kind of redeems himself because we've seen the athletic ability. But, we talked about it a few weeks ago. I think Richardson burned himself when he took himself out of the game. And, Flacco is not like a savior. But Richardson, I don't know, dude. He just kind of showed that he's just not there yet. Whether it's maturity or whatever it is, something's not clicking for him in the NFL yet.
Yeah, I'll give you that. 26, I have the Patriots, 6-spot bump. Yeah, they beat Chicago, but it's kind of a function of the board. 27, I have the Cowboys. I dropped them 10. Here's my question for you.
Yeah.
So we know that the Cowboys are whatever it is, 3-6.
Yep.
How many of those wins are at home?
I don't know. Did they win any at home?
No. The last time they won at home was week 17 of last year against Detroit.
Yes, in a highly controversial game, James.
Yes, a highly fucking controversial game. But it's a complete 180 from last year where they were, was it 8-0 or was it 9-0?
Yeah, and I saw what was it, Micah Parsons talking about, he doesn't feel bad for McCarthy. He feels bad for players like Zach Martin, because it's, you know, whatever his reasons are, but fuck McCarthy, dude. I mean, I don't know. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. But you know,
In 28-29, Jacksonville, Tennessee stayed the same. They lost, but they lost to teams that I have way higher than them.
yeah, and they're near the
And
bottom anyhow. Yeah.
they're near the bottom, but also like with Jacksonville, I almost flipped Jacksonville and Dallas here because I thought Jacksonville would have won that game if it weren't for the fact that Lawrence wasn't
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah.
But and then 30, I have the Bears. I dropped them 6 spots. I I hear what you're saying about the defense, but I can't I can't get on board with that argument about
Okay.
the defense because they have the defense
I mean,
they
James, when your offense only puts up three, eventually the defense is going to get burned, man.
so I know and I hear that, but the defense I can't get there with you where you have them on the defense simply because of the fact that the offense is that fucking atrocious.
Sure.
In the last so at Washington they only scored 15 points. At Arizona they only scored 9 points. At the Patriots they only scored I'm sorry, home against the Patriots they only scored 3 points. They yeah, okay, Jaguars, Carolina, they put up more than 20 points, but they've barely put up more than 20 points any game this season. And yeah, their defense is holding teams down, but the defense just has to play better. If the offense isn't scoring, what's that, 15 points a game? If the offense is only scoring
So,
15
so
points a
they're,
game, then you need the defense to hold the teams to
I know,
14.
but they're, record-wise, they're ahead of 12 teams. And so I have a hard time putting them that far down.
And I hear you. It's my board, and I'll do what the fuck I want with it.
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
will,
kidding.
James. No, it's all right. I just, it, yeah, it's
They
your
lo- they,
board. You do what you want. And
they
it's my
lost.
board. And I do what I want.
They
Yeah.
lost to the team that I had at number
In
32
the
last
dumpster
week,
fire. Yeah.
and I only put up 3 points against that team. At least
Yes.
with Atlanta, Atlanta had that game close and was within striking distance of it. From
I know,
the start of the game,
but just 3 weeks ago, they were one of the top four teams in like point differential. And so it's like, we're seeing the fucking Jekyll and Hyde of a rookie quarterback in Chicago. And so the potential's there. It's just that they're going to have these fuck up games like this.
I would just like to point out the team that is number 1 in points differential. I'd just like to point it out.
Point it out. Point it out. I want you to
At
point it out.
plus 113, the Detroit Lions.
Fuck yeah. Detroit. Okay. 26. I got the Jets. Drop them down 5. Tons of wasted talent. We already know that. Rodgers, he's fucking killing that team. 27. Raiders, they were on a bye. 28. Jacksonville, drop them down 2. Looks to me like they're officially throwing in the towel. We'll find out this week, but they're fucked. 29. Carolina moved them up one. It was a meaningless bump. They beat a team in my dumpster fire. 30. Tennessee. Despite the loss, I saw some fight in that team. Levis and Calvin Ridley looked like they actually had some chemistry. Uh, you know, it just, goddamn, is it too little too late? I don't know. So back to you for the dumpster fire.
All right. And the dumpster fire, I just went all New York.
New York.
I struggled which one was more of a dumpster fire.
Yeah, I like that you put the Jets at the bottom.
I I ended up going with the Jets because I've seen at least this past week there was more fight out of the Giants, even though they were playing Carolina versus Arizona, but there was more fight than they were bringing it to trying to bring it to Carolina, where it looked to me like the Jets have just given up. So I moved the Giants down 5, the Jets to 31, the Jets down 9 to 32.
So David Shaw, the old Stanford coach, he does a lot with like NFL analysis and commentary and whatnot now. He was commenting on the Jets-Cardinals game, and I actually really liked what he had to say about Rodgers, was that old quarterbacks don't get better. And Rodgers, you knew he had the Achilles thing, but he was already starting to get limited in mobility before that anyhow. And you can't expect him to all of a sudden get better and start making plays with his legs. And so what is he going to do? He's going to rely on short timing routes, which his offense is not built to do. And even if it was built to do, it would be very easy for a defense to zone in on. And so basically, David Shaw tore him apart and was like, they gambled on Rodgers and they lost. And it's not going to get better for them. They've given Rodgers so many weapons with the Devontae Adams trade, Garrett Wilson. I know Ellen Lazard's on IR, but they had Mike Williams. Brees Hall. Everybody is just it's just a failed experiment, is what it is. And I was a little bit hopeful, right, in the offseason, because I thought, man, you saw him last year, how motivated he was, and then he went down on that first fucking drive. But we've seen it all year, and we're just like, no, he's done. He's cooked. He's over. So I like that you put him at the bottom. I'm not there yet. My dumpster fire is still the Patriots and the Giants. I just flipped them around, and so that's all it is on my side.
All right. So that's our power rankings.
Yes, it is.
You got another fucking game on me. And the fucking blocked field goal.
Oh, you're going to blame it on a blocked field goal, James? I'd get it a different way if I had to. Like I have some control over the universe. No. All right, so percentage-wise, I just did the math here, James.
I'm at 63.82.
Oh, you did the math too. Good for you. Okay.
You're at 67.76.
Yay.
That's 103 correct for you, 97 correct for me.
We're still doing incredibly well. We're still doing incredibly well, both sides.
So
I think anything over 60 is fucking legit.
Yeah. So first up, we have the Commanders at the Eagles. I honestly, so if the Commanders beat Pittsburgh or were beat down by Pittsburgh, I could see I probably would flip this to the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that game ended.
Yeah, with the sort of the walk-off touchdown to Mike Williams.
yeah, like not quite walk off, but basically walk off. I mean, it was well, not quite. No, it wasn't walk off, but so how the game ended. So you had the Mike Williams touchdown with what was it like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes? It was before the 2 minute warning. 2.5 minutes, and then you fucking first of all, I think they got the
I
call
know, but they
correct.
didn't score after that.
Right, right, right. What it came down to was literally inches. On the 4th and 9 play to Zach Ertz, where it was a good defensive play. Like Zach Ertz kind of had to go down a little bit to get the ball so his knee touched.
Sure.
And basically, if he would have turned and been able to get turned this far, he would have had the first down. But he was hit when he was here.
Okay.
And it was like, and that's that little, just tiny bit is what
Changed
they
it.
needed for changed it from a turnover and downs, or from first down to turnover and downs. I think it was a bad spot, but since they couldn't move the ball forward. I think it was a terrible spot because he was inches from the 41 and they spotted it at the 42.
Okay.
I think they could have moved the ball forward a little bit and measured it, but he would have had to have gained the 41-yard line, and I don't think he got it. So I think it ultimately is the right call, but it was a bad spot, but it was ultimately the right call, and that's how that was the end of the game. They had a couple plays that were questionable play calls in that last minute, but it came down to that play, and he wasn't there. It was the right call. I can't bitch about the call, but I think the way that game ended is going to give Washington more fight, especially with it being a divisional game. So I'm going to go with Washington.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it does. I love everything we're seeing out of Washington this year. This game is in Philly, and Philly, like I was saying earlier, in recent weeks, it just seems to me like they're starting to fucking click in a way that we haven't seen in a year and a half. And I want to ride that wave. They're number 2 in defense according to NFL.com. They're number 2 in rushing offense according to NFL.com. And then offensively passing, they're listed as 24th, but Devonta Smith has been on fire for them. And I don't know, man. I think if the game was in Washington, I'd probably pick Washington, but because it's in Philly, I'm picking Philly.
All right, then we have a game we don't really need to talk about.
All right.
The Packers at the Bears, and
I mean, it's in Chicago. Whatever you want to say. But
it's
yeah,
in
we're
Chicago.
both picking the Packers. Yeah.
Okay. I went back to like 2000. Hold on, this can't be right. So 17-9, 38, 28-19, Green Bay 27, Green Bay 45-30, Green Bay 24-14, Green Bay 35-16, Green Bay 41-25, Green Bay 21-13, Green Bay 10-3,
Green Bay owns them.
Last time the Packers lost to the Bears was 6 years ago.
And they play twice a year for people that don't know that.
Twice a year. Since 2010, Chicago has beaten the Packers 2, 3, 4 times.
4 times in 14 years.
Yes.
and that's like 26 to 28 games because they haven't played yet, so 26 games.
Yes.
It's not a very good win percentage.
It's not a very good win percentage, and it's just going to continue.
Yeah, I'm with you. Chicago, bottom of the barrel offensively. Defense has been respectable, but not that respectable because the offense drags them down. And so, yeah, I'm with you. I'm taking the Packers.
All right. Then we have the Jaguars at the Lions.
Yes.
And I'm really glad
the redemption game for Detroit. They lost to Jacksonville 25-7 in preseason last year. I'm just fucking around, James. A preseason game doesn't matter. But we're still out.
I thought you were talking about.
We're still out for blood. It's kind of wild to me that the fucking Jags are 32nd in defense.
That is fucking.
They've got Josh Allen or whatever, Josh Hines Allen, whatever he's going by now, and Trayvon Walker. I think Trayvon Walker's been hurt a little bit, but still, man, they've got guys on that defense, man. How are they 32nd on defense?
I don't know.
Maybe because the offense is doing nothing. I don't know.
When you were saying the revenge game, I was like, I was trying to come up with like the last time in my head that Detroit lost in Jacksonville.
Yeah, preseason, 2023.
Well, preseason, regular season.
Yeah. No, I say that because it popped up in the last meeting on NFL.com. I'm like, oh, revenge.
Yeah, because I was like, wait a minute, like they played 2 years ago and the Lions smoked them. And then so I went back and I was like, okay, and then they played 4 years ago and the Lions won by 18. They played 8 years ago and the Lions won by a touchdown. They played 12 years ago and the Lions won by
so what are they
17.
getting revenge on? Yeah.
The 2008 game where the Lions lost, was that? Wait a minute.
Hold up.
Oh, that must be it. Revenge for the 2008 game. The 0-16 season.
Oh, yeah.
They lost to Jacksonville in week 14. No, week 10, 38-14 at home, and that was like just the game that I don't fucking know. I'm trying to support your two franchises going different. I have a concern in this game after such an emotional win on Sunday night, technically a short week, that the Lions would overlook the Jaguars.
Okay.
I have that slight concern because I don't think Dan Campbell will let them overlook the Jaguars.
I don't either.
And so I'm going to go with the Lions.
Yeah, I got to go Detroit. This is a team that knows they have like no margin for error in the NFC North. And so they're going to keep their eye on the ball and keep just finding ways to win. Even if they have some mental mistakes like they did last week against Houston, they're super fucking resilient and they'll come back and get it done. And this game, I think, is going to be a little softer than other ones, but they're still not going to let it fucking flounder away from them. And so I'm going Detroit, man.
Then we have two franchises going in a different direction. You have the Raiders, who I'm surprised that Pierce is still coaching, at the Dolphins, who are back on the rise. Although I did see something about a concern about Tua in this game.
Uh-oh.
I may have been imagining something, but either way, either way, Miami's going to win the game, even if they could sit Tua and Miami would still win the game.
I mean, if Tua didn't play, I would really probably flip a coin, right? But with Tua in the game, I think it's like a shoe in for Miami.
Hmm. Then we have the Rams at the Patriots. And after last night's game, I think the Rams are going to go into that game buttoned up
They
and
better, yeah.
and and win. I don't have much faith in that. After going into last night's game, I had more faith in the Rams than I did after last night's game. But I'm still going to go with the Rams.
Yeah, Sean McVay sounded a little bit rattled to me after that loss. And I think they know that it's like, man, the fucking season is going to be slipping away fast if they don't fucking dial it in. I think that this is about as powder puff as a game as they're going to get, so they gotta win it. And so I'm
Hmm.
taking the Rams.
Then we have the Ravens at the Steelers, and I flipped 4 times, 5 times on this game on who's going to win it. I keep going back and forth on it. The Steelers are playing great ball, but then
Especially on
again,
defense.
especially on defense. But the Ravens have been playing pretty good as well lately, but not on
Especially on
defense,
offense.
especially
Yes.
on offense.
I mean, look
I'm
at
gonna,
this. Look at this. Baltimore, one overall on offense, one overall in passing, one overall in rushing. I mean, it's tough, dude. It's tough.
and aren't they one overall in like points scored?
Probably. But here's the problem. 27th on defense. And I think in these fucking tough divisional games, defense matters a lot.
Hmm.
Pittsburgh's five in defense. And, let's be real, man. They've been ultra efficient with Russell Wilson. You know, and I don't want to take anything away from Justin Fields because he kept their fucking season alive, man. Now that Russ is in, Russ is like basically just like slow and steady doing what Tomlin needs him to do. So I don't know. I think you're leaning towards Baltimore. I'm leaning towards the Steelers, but
I'm
yeah, I mean,
actually
or you're
it's good.
flipping?
I flipped to the
Okay.
Steelers, but it literally is going to be it's going to be a gut feeling at
All right.
9:55 Pacific time
You keep me posted, but I
on
flipped you to
Sunday.
Pittsburgh. I flipped you
Yeah,
to Pittsburgh.
I'm it's going to be I might flip it
If you go
back.
back. And I mean, dude, you know, to me, Baltimore seems like the more talented team, man. But it's the way their defense has just been off this year,
Hmm.
and then the way that Pittsburgh just seems to fucking dial in every game. Man, it's hard to go against Tomlin at home.
And this is also it's also in the middle of I think it's the end of a no middle of a rough-ish stretch for Pittsburgh because they just played the Commanders and then they have the Ravens and the Browns. I'm gonna say that's a tough game because of the fact that
It's
it's
still
divisional.
divisional, yeah.
Then the Bengals, then the Browns again, then the Eagles, then the Ravens, then the Chiefs, then the Bengals.
Yeah, so it's
Damn.
almost kind of like Pittsburgh needs to win this one because none of them are coming easy from here.
Yeah. Exactly. And they have a chance of winning the division. If they win this game, they'll get the inside track to the winning the division. But it's a rough stretch that they just started this past week. And maybe I would say if it was towards the end of the stretch that I would lean more towards the Ravens. But I
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't think Tomlin is gonna let them have a letdown yet. I
Okay.
think there will be a little bit of a letdown in one of these games where like they'll lose to Cleveland unexpectedly or something, but
Yeah.
because it is a rough stretch. But I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh. Might change to Baltimore on Sunday, but I'm not. I go back and forth. All right, Minnesota at Tennessee. I was tempted to pick Tennessee in this game just because of the fact that what I saw from Minnesota, from the highlights of Minnesota on this past weekend, where I have concerns about Minnesota being locked in, and we've talked about it, like with against
Yeah. I
the
mean, I never
Colts,
thought they'd do this good. So,
like well we talked about this like since the Lions game, like they have to be kind of locked in because this is like their easy stretch of the season. um Jacksonville, Tennessee, Chicago. But I think Minnesota is going to come out to prove something in this game. um and they got to win to keep. For Minnesota, they have to win to keep the pressure on the Lions. If they relent on the pressure on the Lions a little bit, then if they don't keep the pressure and they don't keep pace with the Lions are going to walk away with the division. So I'm going to go with Minnesota, but I was tempted to pick Tennessee.
yeah, I mean, I'm going Minnesota. Overall, they've just been a way better team this year. I know that Darnold had the 3 picks last week, but they're standing by him. And
Well, who are they going to go to after besides Darnold? Brian Hoyer?
I don't fucking know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that I
I'm
do
sorry. I'm
believe.
sorry. Nick Mullins.
Yeah, oh yeah, Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins might be better than Will Levis at this point in their respective careers, but either way, I'm sticking with the Vikings. Just look at the records, man. I mean, it's Tennessee has been so fucking bad. I can't
Mhm.
pick them to win. I don't care that it's at home for them.
Yeah. A concern for the game is Aaron Jones being questionable, but they did get Cam Akers, who I think can still play.
Yeah, he's had some flashes.
All right. And we have the Colts at the Jets. I have more faith in what I've seen out of the Colts than what I've seen out of the Jets. Like, I see nothing good happening with the Jets. Like fucking Sauce Gardner. I think it Sauce Gardner this week was responding to people bitching, like direct DMing people bitching on Twitter and
Yeah,
TikTok
he's losing
about
his shit.
yeah about like I lost money, blah 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 blah, and he's like go cry about it. It's like seriously, like dude, I wanted to see if I could find the quote.
Yeah, and while you're looking that up, I'll tell you, I'm actually taking the Jets in this game. It's in New York. Uh, the Colts have the 29th ranked defense. To me, this is a Rodgers. If you can't win this game, Albrecht has to be thinking about fucking benching you because he's got nothing to lose as an interim coach, and you have all of the reasons in the world that you need to be fucking winning games. And so if it doesn't happen here against a Joe Flacco fucking led offense, uh, I think this is the end for Rodgers. And so I think he gets a win here, but his shelf life is very fucking short.
Yeah, so somebody Rich Simini had um, tweeted or whatever it's called now. Entire
X'd it.
defense X'd it, whatever the
I
fuck
don't
they
know.
call it.
Yeah.
Entire defense, 20 missed tackles, cornerback Sauce Gardner caught the costliest missed tackle. Aaron Rodgers season low 151 yards despite being pressured on only 7 dropbacks. Blah 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 blah. Sauce Gardner responded, "Yep, I'm 100% sure me missing that tackle at the beginning of the second quarter for a gain of 17 yards was the costliest miss, and that is in fact what lost us the game." And then there was another one. A screenshot it, and I can't find the other one, but it was just as bad. Like
Sure.
like him, like, oh, what the fuck? Where? My screen went black for a second. I can't find it. But one thing I wanted to go back to that I forgot, and I
Go
remember
back.
we were talking about the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
The Washington Commanders will play their ninth ninth former Heisman winner this week. They've already set the record for it. But 9 fucking Heisman winners they played this
That's
week.
kind of wild, man.
Or this season. So they in week 1, they played Baker Mayfield, who won the Heisman. Week 3, Joe Burrow. Week 4, Kyler Murray. Week 5, Jameis Winston. Week 6, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. Week 7, Bryce Young. Week 8, Caleb Williams. And this week, Devonta Smith.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they still have. So they have Devonta Smith this week. They have Devonta Smith again, but I think there's another one somewhere on the schedule. I can't think of it just looking at the teams. I can't think of the players. But that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
The previous record was 7. 5 teams had played 7. The last one that to play 7 was the 2019 Rams, which wasn't. 2020 was the Super Bowl, right? Was it 21? It was 22 was the Super Bowl, 21 season. I was thinking it was 2018 season and 2019 was the Super Bowl. I was thinking they made the Rams made the Super Bowl that year. They played 7, but it's not. But it's wrong. It's wrong. But it's just crazy how many they have played. I digress, and we can go to the Falcons at the Broncos.
Sure.
I'm going with an instant reaction to the game. Or I did go with an instant reaction to the game. But the more, it's like there's another game I go back and forth on, and I might change it on Sunday. Right now I'm on the Falcons. Sure. But both teams, I think, are going to come out with a lot to prove after how they lost this past week.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going with Atlanta because I'm trying to respect my board, and I have them significantly higher. I will say this: my gut is actually leaning towards Denver because I think that Denver is the better coached, better disciplined, more stable team. But I'm going to stick with Atlanta because I'm trying to respect my board.
Yeah, and I might be like, it's just, I could see that game going either way. And with it being in Denver, like that kind of makes me lean more towards Denver. I'll. This is a game that might change on Sunday.
Yeah, keep me posted, man.
At 1 p.m. Pacific time, might be texting you. Oh, I'm switching to Broncos. You're that, or I'm gonna fucking
Oh, you
forget.
missed it. They already kicked off, James. Oh, too late, too late. Yeah.
Not my fault. You didn't read it till after they kicked off, motherfucker. Because the
Oh no, I'll
kickoff's
see
at
the time. I'll see the time.
the kickoff's at 1:05 Pacific time, which really means like 1:07. But either way, subject
I'll
to
be
change.
keeping receipts. Yeah.
Then we have the Seahawks at the 49ers, a divisional game. 49ers, unfortunately, the 49ers are back. They look.
Oh, they're back. Yeah,
They're back.
McCaffrey's back, and they're back.
Like, the reason why Tampa was such a close game is I think Moody, and they have a kicker problem. Let's be
Moody
honest.
missed a couple kicks. Yep.
They have a big time kicker problem there. Moody, I think, has missed like 10 field goals this year.
And they're committed to him because they drafted him in like the fucking third round.
Yeah.
I know that was 2 years ago, but still, come on. Just fucking cut bait, man. Get a real fucking kicker.
So he's missed 4 field goals this year.
And how many extra points?
None.
Okay, well then maybe it's not as bad, but
So he's
I still don't like him. He went to Michigan.
All four misses have been of 40 or more yards. But this past game was 3 of them.
Okay. Yeah, so he missed 3 out of 6. So right now he's 16 out of 20. So that's, what's that, 4 out of 5. So he's 80%. That's not good. That's not good.
It's not good.
And last year he was 84%. So
that's where the concern is. He's missed 8 field goals in his career.
Yeah, and then I'm looking, just trying to see if I can get the other stats here. Or how do I fucking sort this shit?
He's only missed 1 extra point in his career.
Okay.
He's where'd it go? He's 74 for 75.
Yeah, I mean they're fucked. They drafted him in the 3rd round, so they're committed to him. But you can't tell me he's any better than any fucking off the street kicker that any team has fucking picked up. Okay, that's how fucked up kicking is in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it's just how it is, man.
No, it is. It's like.
But I'm taking the 49ers in this game.
I'm taking the 49ers. I jokingly say they're back. They looked.
I mean, they're borderline top 10 in every stat. They've just been struggling to seal the fucking wins, man.
Yeah. I'm on the 49ers too. I don't have a lot of faith in the pick, so I was trying to hype it up, but...
All right, I got you. So this next one, James, let's talk about the Bills and Chiefs, because this is where, if things go the way I think they're going to go, I will finally be able to drop the Chiefs out of that number 1 spot and put the Lions up there. I know that the Chiefs, they, typically have the Bills number, but they did lose the last time they played Buffalo.
In the playoffs, the Chiefs have the Bills number.
Yeah.
In the regular season, the Bills typically have the Chiefs number.
Okay.
Going back. I'm just going back to 2017 because I think that was, 17. Was it 17?
And you don't have to go back that far, but yeah.
I wanted to go back to no, it was 18. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes history, because before that,
Yeah, it's kind of irrelevant, right?
kind of irrelevant. So Mahomes was drafted in 17, Allen was drafted in 18. So I'll go back to 2000. So their first game against each other was 2020. Kansas City won the first two. Then Buffalo. What do these know? Okay. Kansas City won the first. I'm just going to do regular. I just want to do regular season. So Kansas City won the first one. Buffalo won the next one. Buffalo won the next one. Buffalo won the next one. So 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1 in 4 regular season games. Josh Allen is against Kansas City. Let me see. 1, 2. All 3 of the wins for Buffalo were at Kansas City. The one loss in the regular season was at Buffalo. Which was the first matchup.
All right.
But that 2020 season, I want to say 2020 season, it was like almost like the Chiefs were unstoppable. Like that was like the ridiculous season.
Yeah, 5,000 yard Mahomes year, 50 touchdowns, crazy.
No, that was the year before.
Okay. So either way, are you taking Buffalo with me, or are you going Chiefs?
I want the Chiefs to lose, so I'm going to go with Buffalo, but I'm not.
You're not convicted.
I'm not convicted. But I think if the Chiefs are going to lose this season,
this is it.
This is it.
Yeah.
Like maybe week 16 or 17 when they play Houston or at the Steelers, but it's really they play the Bills, then they're at the Panthers, they got the Raiders, the Chargers, at the Browns, versus the Texans, at the Steelers, at the Broncos. So I think this is the shot for Kansas City to lose.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with Buffalo, but not
Buffalo.
Not very not very much conviction.
Like like an 80% confidence.
Yeah.
Level. Yeah.
All right. Then we have the Sunday night game. The Bengals at the Chargers. I don't know. I have no rhyme or reason why I picked this way. I just did. I'm on the Bengals. It's kind of just like a gut feeling.
Okay. Nothing wrong with going with the gut, James. I'm going with the, Harbaugh has been slow and steady and picking up fucking steam with the Chargers. Herbert is starting to open up that offense on the passing game. We know that they're fucking dominant on defense, and they just kind of like chug along and get it done running the ball. If Cincinnati was like middle of the road on defense, I would probably pick them to get this game and flip it. But because they're so god awful on defense, I think the Chargers got this one, man.
All right, then we're on to the Monday night matchup down in Texas.
Texas.
Houston at the Cowboys.
Texas on Texas.
And
Both teams are struggling
both
all of a
teams,
sudden.
exactly. Both teams are struggling all of a sudden. For one team is struggling a lot worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're both taking Houston, right? I mean, how do you take fucking Dallas right now?
Um,
Dallas is toast, man. I mean, even if you told me CJ Stroud is out, I'd be like, fine. I take Davis Mills any day. They're still going to beat Dallas.
Ironically, the Houston Texans have only beat the Cowboys twice.
I don't care.
I just, in 6 matchups that are probably irrelevant, but I just found that interesting.
Sure.
Overall points scored in the Cowboys versus Texans matchups, 134 for Dallas, 97 for Houston. It don't fucking matter. I was just curious what the record was.
Houston is top 10 or borderline top 10 for almost every stat, and that's with injuries on both sides of the ball. And so, um, you know, they're getting it done despite their adversity. Dallas is like fucking 25th on offense, 20th on defense. They are sucking it up because of their diversity, if you want, or adversity, if you want to say that. And so it's just, you look at a good team that's coached well, and you look at a fucking, mediocre team that's just fucking coached like shit. So I got to go Houston.
All right, then we're on to the Thursday night matchup. And I forecasted this when I was talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers earlier.
Okay.
When I said, they might lose a game against Cleveland in this stretch.
So are you taking Cleveland in that game?
I'm going to take Cleveland.
Cleveland Browns. Okay.
Just a gut feeling.
Go with your gut, my man. I'm taking Pittsburgh on next Thursday. So skibbity-doo-bat, skibbity-doo-doo, however you want to say it. Poopy, poopy, poop.
It always throws me when I think about the Cleveland Browns and when I look up like their game history, because you know how when Cleveland Browns moved from Cleveland, they left the entire history.
Yeah.
So like the matchups like go back to like 1950.
Oh yeah.
For Steelers at the Browns, or Steelers versus the Browns, and it just throws me for a second.
Asterisks.
Yeah, asterisks. Big time asterisks. But still, either way, just a little side note that Cleveland, I think, is going to surprise the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They could. You never know.
On a short week.
With Jameis Winston airing it out.
In the midst of this.
Nick Chubb, I think Cleveland's a different team, man. And so, like, I respect them a lot more. I just need them to win so I can fucking catapult them up my board, man. I won't catapult them like I did Miami, but I will catapult them a little bit. I mean, especially if they fucking beat Pittsburgh, I'll catapult them. Then it's like, God damn, they're better than I thought they were. But, time will tell.
Also, I would like to point out that 3 of the Lions' next 4 games are in windows of exclusivity.
Okay.
3 of their remaining games. They got the 49ers on Monday night. They have Packers on Thursday and Bears on Thanksgiving. Looking at their schedule, those are probably two of the three chances or three of the four chances remainder of the season I'll get to watch the Lions, because the rest of the games are, well, maybe the Bills. That's going to be a good game.
Okay.
I would also like to point out that the last time the Lions started, I want to say it correctly because
1956 or 1958 or whatever.
8-1 was 1954. I believe it was 54. Yep, 1954.
Let's get it, fellas. Let's get it.
And then we're going, anything after this is we're going back to like the 30s.
Sure.
Well, let's get it. Let's do it.
Get some. All right, my man. You ready to shift gears here and do our just open-ended question of the week?
Yep.
All right. Let's just talk about Trey Lance in Dallas. And, this is just kind of like just a fucking, a freestyle, whatever, man. I see him play. I think like what you're saying, the 2 plays in and then bring him out. It's fucking weird that they did that. He clearly has a way higher ceiling than Cooper Rush, right? But he also is like way more highly likely to fucking turn the ball over than Cooper Rush. And so I think that if the team had Dak coming back in a few weeks and they were maybe, in a way of staying in the playoff hunt, you could make the argument that Cooper Rush should be the guy. But because the season is basically fucking done, I don't know why you even mess with Cooper Rush. You know what you have in him. I think you go all out with Trey Lance until the fucking wheels fall off. And if you end up with a top 3 or a top 5 pick, fucking so be it. Because at least at that point, did your investment in him pay off or not? And you can fucking, draft a fucking high quality guy and look to the future.
If your investment in Trey Lance paid off?
Oh yeah, I mean, they're
up a
committed to
fourth-round
Dak
pick
now,
for him.
right? So
Yeah, they're committed to Dak. Here's the thing with Dallas and why they should play Trey Lance, not Cooper Rush. And it pains me to say they should play Trey Lance, not Cooper Rush. But the offensive line in Dallas can't block it worth shit right now.
yeah, Trey Lance is mobile.
Cooper Rush is not mobile by any means. No descriptive of Cooper Rush would be mobile.
No.
Trey Lance is. If they continue to put Cooper Rush back there and allow him to get beat up, he's going to get hurt. Just maybe not as bad as Dak. And I know Dak was a different situation on how he got hurt, but he's going to get hurt too, and you're going to be forced to go to Trey Lance. You go with Cooper Rush in the short term is a serviceable backup. Trey Lance, you don't know what you have there. If he comes out and he plays well, there's teams that need quarterbacks. Carolina.
Yeah, they might want to go get him in the offseason.
They might trade for him in the offseason if he fits. Carolina was the first one that popped in my mind. Vegas, possibly New Orleans, possibly Denver, possibly depends on what the Rams and what's going on with Stafford if he hangs it up after the season. Possibly even the Giants would go.
Yeah, I could see the Giants definitely taking a shot.
Cleveland, a possibility.
Cleveland definitely taking a shot.
You don't know
Tennessee taking a shot.
Tennessee. You don't know how much longer
The
Baker's
fucking
going to.
Jets taking a shot. See you later, Rodgers.
The Jets.
Plenty of suitors.
Plenty of suitors if he shows something.
Yeah.
So you could trade him, like, even if you can get him up to, like, flipping him for a second or third round pick, you have a return on the investment.
And the reality is, we're going into week 11. If he could close out the last, like, 3 or 4 games of the year looking respectable, teams would say, oh, yeah, he's got the potential. Mm-hmm. And so he could fucking struggle for, like, 2 or 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden be like, okay, now I'm ironing out these fucking wrinkles, and the trade value would go through the roof as long as he closes strong in those last 3-ish weeks, right? Because then people are going to say, okay, now we see it. Now we see the development. Now we see the potential.
Yeah, and it's not as much, like the potential. The teams see the potential there, but they see the inaccuracy there too. They see his talent and the talent he has, and nobody's said that he's not a talented quarterback. The problem is he can't. He's too inaccurate. He's too loose with the ball now because he's
that
he's
pick
raw.
last week was so bad, dude. I mean, he just like lofted it up into double coverage. It was like, dude.
Yeah. If he shows progress and the ability to take care of the football and not have boneheaded plays like that, trying to make something happen, I could see teams saying, yes, I'm going to take a shot at him. He was a first round pick for a reason.
Yeah.
He has the talent. He has a high ceiling.
I'll give you my future 7th round pick.
It's just his floor right now is really fucking low. Yeah. He needs to bring the floor up.
Yeah.
To be closer to where, maybe not closer to a ceiling, but bring it up to where you can say, cool, he'll take care of the ball. Like you said with Russ.
And let me ask you about this, because we've seen Malik Willis in limited action in Green Bay with Jordan Love out. And honestly, when they both came out in the draft, they had similar comps. Both of them were like Josh Allen-esque profiles. And Malik Willis slid in the draft. Trey Lance obviously did not. He got, picked by the 49ers early. But Malik Willis has actually looked really good for the Packers in his, limited playing time when Jordan Love was out. And so it's like, it's like, man, if Trey Lance could just find a way to like get to there, I think teams would be very enticed.
Yeah. So in his 4 games they played, and granted, one of it was a partial game. I think it was 3 games started, 4 games played. And might have been whatever. He's 29 for 39, almost just over 74% completion rate, averaging 9.7 yards per completion, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He has been sacked 5 times, but that I think that I don't like mobile quarterbacks like Willis and these mobile quarterbacks. I don't really count the sack number that well because it's some of it might
Yeah, how
be
much of that is them trying to make a play, and how much of that
yeah
is, they really
them
just got sacked in the pocket, whatever.
exactly trying to make a play and being sacked
Yeah,
versus instead because he's mobile, he's trying to make the play and he thinks he can escape instead of like a more statuesque quarterback would have just thrown it away.
sure. Yeah.
Like we saw Goff, a couple of Goff's incompletions. Like he just turned around. It's like the play was blown up. He just threw it at the feet of the receiver.
Yeah, he knows
Threw,
what to do. Yeah, he
yeah,
knows what to do.
yeah. So if Goff was more mobile, would he
What
have
do you
done
mean?
that or
I
would he have
saw
tried to
Goff
escape?
make a run for a first down.
Yeah, and
Rare, but it
I
happened.
I fell asleep watching that play. That's how slow he was running. I think that play
Slow as
took
molasses.
I think that play took 20 minutes.
Slow as molasses.
You know, showing that 5.6 speed doesn't really help.
5.6. It's slower than a lot of offensive linemen. It's that slow.
Yeah. So rushing, ooh, he has 18 rushes for 18 yards. And that 7 yard rush he had. I'm sorry, it was a 2 yard rush against the Texans. He had an 8 yard rush against Arizona, and he had a 7 yard rush against the Rams. Which is one thing I liked about the Lions, even though the running game wasn't. Sorry, I just got an ad pop up that I was like, what the
Yeah, you
fuck?
probably don't want to repeat what the ad says in the pop-up because it's probably, not, YouTube friendly, but I hear you.
But anyways,
Yeah, yeah, you had to take your glasses off. It was that bad. Oh shit.
so anyways, what was I saying?
Yeah, now you lost
How the
me because
Lions
you're going like triple X rated here, James.
how the Lions, even though it wasn't really working, they still stuck with the run game and they didn't
Yeah,
abandon the run
yeah.
game in against the Texans. I digress. That's about all I have.
James is phased, party people. James is phased.
I just did not
Um,
expect that ad. Did not expect that
yeah,
on
you need to run
ESPN.
your antivirus software and do some cleaning of your PC. But
Probably, even though I only use this PC for Gridiron
sure,
Grinders.
sure, James, sure, sure. Yeah, all right. So listen, I got nothing else, man. Do you got anything else?
Nope, that's about it.
All right, you guys out there, we're almost 2 hours deep. We know that you want us to go 3 hours deep, but the reality is James has a life, guys. I don't. James does. Uh, you know, he's got a family, man. Me, I just got, a bottle of whiskey sitting here, and so it's just different. So, you know, I got to let him go. You guys don't want to hear just me ramble on about football or whatever bullshit going on in my life. So, like always, it was fun. Subscribe, blah, 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 thumbs up, comment, name that stadium. We know you're never going to do it, but, I got to say it. So, James, I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess that's it.
All right, have a good one.
All right. Peace out.
Gridiron Grinder. Hut hut hike.